Who here likes getting put on the spot? Or, for that matter, standing up here with these with no impromptu speeches going, yep. So, I don't think anybody likes doing that. The quote I got today is that you can observe a lot by just watching. And for my three, I'm going to put it into three different categories. First is you can watch actively, you can watch passively, and I'm going to say you can watch like multitasking. It's not quite the same. And I'm going to use my personal family members as examples of that. So first category of active, this is my daughter Jay. She's just a year and a couple of months now, and she is an active participant in anything she wants to do. She'll sit there and she'll get up there and be like, okay, I've got to touch it, I've got to do it. We have a tabby cat, and the cat, when we first got the cat, claws every time you got close. So then she would just be like, get up in his face and be like, what are you doing? What's your tail for? What's your ears for? All that sort of stuff. And that is very much more of a active way of observing and actually being involved, touching, and all that sort of stuff, just being in contact, whether it be physical or whether it be mental. The second way to observe and to watch things is with my son Sam acts. Now he's 2, and he sits in the corner, and he's not, I wouldn't say he's shy, but he doesn't like to get involved until he knows what's going on. So he'll stand in the corner, and he'll just watch. He'll just see what's going on. There are kids playing over there in the side, and he'll just sit there. And then when he's ready, he'll get over there and he'll get into it. And whether he fails or not, he'll know what he's doing. He just observes and keeps an eye on what's going on first, and says, kind of has a mental list and goes, okay, this is how you do it. Okay, they're doing it that way, so now I feel comfortable to do it. The third way of observing and keeping an eye on things is, I would say, the way that my father-in-law, he is a multitasker. He will be involved. He's a programmer by trade. He'll be involved, and he'll be behind the screen, whether he's working at home or work or whatever, and he'll be totally concentrated on whatever he's doing. But he's always observing what's going on around him. So we've had multiple times where we would be in the kitchen or the dining room, which is through a side door, and we'll be having a conversation, and wafting out of the other room is his opinion or his whatever he's adding and interjecting in. And even though we were like, wait, you're still here? So even though he is engaged in something else, he's still aware of what's going on around him. So I would say those are the three main ways of observing and paying attention to what's around you. You have your active people, and everyone I would say falls into one of these categories in general. So you have your active listeners, which are constantly there and have to be involved with it. You have your passive listeners that are, in general, hidden away in the corner going like, okay, I gotta see what's going on, whether they're shy or not, whatever. And then you have the ones that, I can't do this, but people can go and they can be doing multiple things at once and still paying attention to things around them. And those are the ways you can just watch what's going on.
All right, well, some of the good stuff at the beginning, there's a preview so we know where you're headed. I thought you did a good job signposting those points as you got to each of them. You had some pretty good examples on each of those points. The descriptions that you have of your daughter, your son, and your father-in-law, they work well to illustrate the points that you're talking about for the most part. And they're more interesting than keeping it at an abstract level. I like some of the little details that you provide there. So organizationally and content-wise, I think it develops pretty well. Presentation, there are a couple of things that I think I've mentioned before that you're going to have to kind of think about a little bit more. You know, you have a voice that is, you just keep dropping out. You know, it's like several times, and especially when you rush the ends of your sentences, you have a tendency to not only get quick when you're at the end of a sentence where you're making a point and then you go, and then one more thing, but while you're going quickly, your voice drops out a little bit. And it's just, it doesn't feel like you are engaged with us. It feels like you're just kind of rushing to the next thing to talk about. I know sometimes you're doing it to try and make an effect. You figure, well, if I drop my voice, that kind of pulls people in. But when you're rushing at the same time, it doesn't do that. It seems like it's more off-putting. At least to me, it feels that way. I like your being animated while you're speaking. I just think that there's a little bit too much exaggeration, especially in the first part of the speech. I thought you were more subdued as the speech went on. But in that first part, when you're doing things and you're acting things out, I kind of appreciated, grabbing the cat and pulling on the ears and all that kind of stuff. But you're also chasing while you're doing that, and that just seemed like it was a little more than necessary to illustrate the point. And so you look like you have nervous feet the whole time because you are constantly moving while you're speaking. And the movement doesn't always seem like it's deliberate, even though in that first section it's part of that pantomime thing that you're doing. After that, it's not really connected to any of those things, and so it looks like that's anxiety coming out. And you don't sound anxious. I mean, your voice sounds pretty confident when you're speaking, and you're fairly fluent when you're talking to us as well. The eye contact thing, you do look up, but as I mentioned to a couple other people, I think you probably think you're doing a better job than you actually are, because you have a tendency to you're looking down and looking up while you're talking to us, and even though your face is directed toward the audience, your attention is not directed toward the audience. And I don't know how much the camera will pick that up, because it's kind of a subtle thing. So when you watch, kind of see if you can pick out what I'm talking about, because like I said, most of the time your face looks like you are engaging us, but the eye contact is a little bit, it's deviated, it's off to the side, it's down below us, and I think that's something that's easy to fix. Just remember to talk to individual people and engage them more, instead of kind of looking off to the side or up in the corner for the answer. All right, thank you.